Okay, I don't have anyone in the waiting room right now, so we could probably get started and then I'll just keep an eye on it as we go forward. But thank you all for joining us today. I know we've got a couple people from around the chapter here. For those of you that don't know who a few of us are and who the Ohio Kentucky chapter is, we've got a couple introduction slides and then we will mostly go through kind of the plan for the student conference, what our agenda is for content, and then how we're hoping that you all, as educators, can be more involved in the process. So, again, thank you all for your time today. We will try and keep the droning short and we will shuffle it around to as many as we can to keep this exciting. But if you're not familiar with the Ohio Kentucky chapter, we consist of five city centers. So you've got Cincinnati, Dayton, Cleveland, Akron, Columbus, Louisville, Lexington, and Toledo. And then we are one of the largest chapters in terms of our campus centers. So we have, I think, in total 14 schools in our two states that have an interior design program. But of those 14, we've got 10 that are registered IIDA campus centers. So you might see a few familiar schools down there as well. With that, we really felt a need to provide more robust student programming for all of the student members that are within our chapter, as well as reaching some of our more regional friends as well. So you'll see some past attendees from Illinois, from Michigan, Wisconsin, anyone that can reasonably get to Ohio or Kentucky in a day's drive have attended in the past. So we've included our mission and vision statement here as well. So IIDA Ohio Kentucky's mission and vision is to provide meaningful resources to commercial interior designers to elevate and advocate for the profession. Through a network of design leadership, our vision is to positively impact the health and well-being of people's lives by fostering a safe, inclusive, and sustainable community. So we do that in lots of ways, but we kind of bucket that into four chunks here: advocacy, students, membership, and outreach. So that's kind of a little bit about our mission and what we strive to do for our members. And then these are the faces of the folks at the chapter level that kind of oversee a lot of the programming we're doing. So I'm Samantha Bonner. I'm our current president. You've got Courtney Kessler on the line here, who's our president-elect. And then Bethany and Tyler have both been past board members. Rebecca Matheny, that's on the line, has been a past board member. We've got a pretty great crew of individuals that keep our chapter going. So, Carrie Hendrickson is our VP of Student Relations. She will be the main point of contact for the conference. Unfortunately, she had a conflict today, but we can cover for her. We've got quite a few members of the committee on the call today. And with that, we'll hear some more information about the big event, our big weekend. Back in 2024, we called it our most ambitious weekend yet. So we're excited to bring that back in 2026. Our design awards for the chapter and our student conference will be hosted in Cleveland, Ohio this year on September 24th and 25th. We have lots of exciting content coming for the student conference specifically. So we've just highlighted a couple of important dates for you all here before we dive into more of the details about what the weekend will entail. So some important dates to note for student conference. Our early bird ticket registration just opened this past Monday. We'll get into kind of what the ticket rates are and what your students can expect to see in just a couple slides. But that early bird period will close in early May. May 1st is what we have listed here. The idea behind this is to give students a little bit more runway to plan as opposed to having to purchase tickets very quickly in the fall when they're back in school for the semester. We have our hotel room registration, so we're providing some ticket types for hotel room stays specifically that you'll see in a later slide. Those will close mid-August, and then our general registration closes at the beginning of September, where the event takes place September 24th and 25th. Concurrently with the student conference registration, we also have design award submissions open for students. These are free to IIDA student members, and we have those open currently, again, opened March 2nd, and then we'll close on the same day as registration for the conference on September 4th. And then with that, I will turn it over. Was this Bethany or Katie? Sorry, Katie. If you'd like to talk a little bit about the location and then the programming we have coming.
Sure. I am not as familiar with Cleveland, but I do know that we are doing this at the Cleveland Public Library. Um, we will be kind of kicking off on Thursday with the student charrette and as well as some tours. I know that that's kind of in the beginning stages of being planned. And then on our Friday, we will be focusing on breakout sessions and keynote speakers, as well as our expo tour. Um, for our breakout sessions, we are starting to really focus on personalized branding with elevator speeches and how to stay consistent across like platforms, including social media, resume, and portfolio. We have another session where we're hoping to focus on how to look like an expert using tools, exams, and resources. So that might entail doing a deep dive into the different types of exams with some emphasis on the NCIDQ. Where do designers find inspo or go for resources? And then familiarity with the different design softwares. And our third focus is going to be on the evolution of design practices since 2020, since we've seen so many changes happening. So, how has design changed in the last 5 years post-pandemic? How are we automating using tools like AI? And what do those success and failures look like since it's kind of an ongoing thing that we're seeing? Um, we even have a couple of the speakers that we're hoping to highlight on this call now. It's Aga Artka and Jenny Rebels, who wrote the book The Brand of You for interior design students and educators. So we are hoping to maybe even have a session that focuses on the brand of you with an educator roundtable session where we can maybe highlight how to promote that to students to brand yourself and use that to elevate yourself within the industry. So I think that's it.
Great. Thank you, Katie. I'll just go back and highlight a couple of key things on the programming front. As Katie mentioned, Thursday, we're planning on the design charrette in 2024. We did that with all students as well. This was 90 students, so quite a few groups, but it produced, I will say, such excitement and amazing work from these groups of students. They were all mixed teams, so mixed being school and year of study to really create a robust and fair experience for these students. And they produced some incredible work that was then displayed at the Chapter Design Awards later that evening. And I cannot express the feedback that we got from designers just about the excitement of seeing student work in that environment. The other thing that was a large request from 2024 to 2026 from our students was more time to see firms, projects, completed projects, and under construction projects. So we focused a large chunk of time on this Thursday evening for doing that. So giving them a space where they can both network amongst themselves, but also with professionals and other industry leaders in the Cleveland market. And then, as Katie mentioned, Friday will be heavily focused on the product expo in the morning. This was also a huge request from students to have some more time to spend there. So we've extended that period quite a bit. And we're hoping to see a pretty big contingency of architecture and design firms. That's been a request from students as well. They prefer to network with as many as they can, as I'm sure you all can appreciate. And then, as Katie mentioned, working on some more programming for an educator roundtable with things that you all would like to see as educators, as well as the breakout sessions and panel discussions. And then finally, wrapping up the evening with the Chapter Design Awards presentation that Bethany will talk about a little bit later. And then we just wanted to cover some information about the registration process and ticket prices. So early bird registration, as I mentioned, closes May 1st. This discount is $10 off on each type of ticket for the conference itself. Current early bird ticket prices for student members is $65, and for early bird non-members is $90. In the past, we've tended to see a pretty good mix of both members and non-members for our attendees at the 2024 event, but trying to reach as many students as we possibly can. If you know of students that are affiliate organization members, so we'll say ASID, AIA, NOMA, we also offer a discount code for those folks as well. We just will provide it upon request. And then we've also broken down hotel room tickets separately from our day of content tickets. So the conference tickets themselves get you access to all programming, covers your meals, transportation at the conference if needed, things like that. And then hotel rooms, we are offering a split hotel room at a discounted rate for students. So we would pair, I believe the next slide talks about it a little bit more specifically. So these rooms would be inside the hotel that the conference is hosted, giving convenience and ease of access to students who decide to book through our ticket platform. And then students would share a room together here. So we're providing whoever they request reasonably. We're asking them for that in the ticket registration information, and then we will pair by school if for some reason they don't request a specific person to room with. I know that one is kind of we've got a lot of questions on the ticket and hotel process, so I'll just pause here really quick to see if anyone has anything they need clarified or need additional information about the ticket sales process. Okay. And then, as I mentioned, the hotel that we are providing for students is the Hyatt Regency Hotel. If you're familiar with the Arcade Hotel in Cleveland, we've provided some beautiful images here. So this is the rooms that we're providing for students. The Design Expo will be hosted in the lower level of the hotel as well. And then across the street is the Cleveland Public Library, where a majority of the content will be hosted. So breakout sessions, lunches, panel discussions, etc. I won't get too into the nitty-gritty on this, but we're providing this information for students as well so they can see the various locations to park, where the conference is located, etc. So you'll see these large orange bubbles are the two locations that we're hosting content, and those are directly across the street from each other, very walkable. So we're hoping to make things as convenient as possible for them. And then finally, just some love for our 2024 session. Um, we there's a very many of us on this call that were involved in that 2024 program, and we're thrilled to bring it back in 2026. And so we're trying to take the feedback from you all as educators, as participants, sponsors, content providers, as much as possible to make this event better for our students in any way we can. So with that, I will turn it over to Bethany for some information about our design awards.
Cool. Thanks, Sammy. So concurrently with the conference, we are also hosting our chapter-wide design awards. So I'm not sure how familiar you are with sort of what IIDA Ohio Kentucky does, but on our even numbered years, we host a chapter-wide design awards where all firms from across Ohio Kentucky are sort of submitting projects and competing together. On those odd number years, our local city centers are hosting a micro level design awards where they're competing just within the local market. So you may be familiar with those, have attended those in the past. For this Ohio Kentucky chapter-wide awards, we've only hosted this two times. In 2022, we were in Columbus. In 24, we were in Cincinnati, and so excited to announce that in 26 we'll be in Cleveland. This year's event on that Friday evening will be hosted at the Museum of Natural History in Cleveland. This was a recent renovation completed by DLR Group in Cleveland. It is an outstanding project. I've toured the facility myself, have attended a couple of programs already, and the project is receiving national and worldwide recognition on the renovation. So super excited to host the event there and kind of celebrate design in a beautifully designed space. We're very much encouraging students to participate in this program. So not only is the awards to recognize professional projects across our two states, but it's also to celebrate members of all kinds. So students, there is a special category for students themselves to submit. The submissions are open now. Again, like Sammy mentioned kind of earlier, we're trying to capture students now as they're wrapping up their spring semesters before they break for summer break. I know that can kind of be challenging to nail down students over the summertime, but really we're kind of hoping to capture them as they're finishing up these spring semester projects. Go ahead and submit them before they walk out the door, and then they can enjoy their summertime. So please encourage your students to submit. The submissions are free. The way that they are sort of formatted, if Sammy, you want to hop on over to our website, there's the link there for you. But also, when you get in here, there's the requirements you can click on. So we have two categories, one for underclassmen and one for upperclassmen, to kind of create a bit of an equal playing field for those project types that students are working on. It breaks everything down. Really, we try to keep this as simple as possible to kind of take the typical format of what a student is submitting in their class, do some very minor formatting, and submit it over to us. So really, it's an 11 by 17 submission PDF, a little bit of a word description, pull out separately a couple of those rendering images, and that's it. Hit submit. So we're really hoping you guys can kind of help us encourage students to submit their projects. It's free, it's super easy. And one of the biggest benefits that I see out of this is with this large chapter-wide design awards, they're getting themselves exposed to firms across the two states. So in past awards, I don't know that we've really solidified for this year, but we've put together project books that list out all of the firms that submit their projects as well as the students. So they're getting included in that book that's going home with every designer and every firm, and getting some really great exposure, plus the networking aspects of it. So that's a little bit on like submitting their projects specifically. Again, those submissions are open now. Feel free to encourage them, loop it into your spring semester content, get them to submit before they walk out the door. The other element that students have to participate within these awards is to be nominated as a member of the year. So that can come from you as faculty, can come from their peers. Multiple people can submit for one and nominate one student. Obviously, more nominations sort of speaks to the student's qualities, but we do sort of have a separate category where not only professionals will be recognized for that, but students will alongside. So please encourage and nominate your students who are outstanding IIDA members. And just a little bit about what the celebration is. So, the conference will wrap up early in the afternoon. Students will have a little bit of a break where they can go back to their hotel room if they're staying again, freshen up, relax a little bit. But the cocktail hour will start about 6. The ceremony starts at 7, and then afterwards we'll have some additional celebration and dancing and fun to sort of celebrate all of the projects. The cost to attend, we are offering a little bit of a discounted price if students are attending the conference and then want to stay and attend the design awards later. So giving them a little bit of break there. But if you do have students who are unable to attend the conference, but maybe still would like to participate in design awards alone, there's a separate price, ticket price for that. And trying to make this as easy as possible for students, we know sort of coordination and coordinating hotels and kind of lining all of that up can be a little bit difficult. So we have additional hotel blocks at the same hotel that they would be staying at for the conference, especially for our more southern schools. If they decide that they would like to attend design awards and stay that night, again, at the hotel, we sort of have this combo ticket and hotel package for $75. If they buy that ticket, we'll again house them in their hotel rooms and realistically keep them in their same hotel room that they were for the conference to try and make it as easy as possible. So a couple of options there for them to participate, but would love your support in encouraging the students to stick around and celebrate good design with us.
Awesome. Thank you, Bethany. Does anyone have any questions? I just included some of our favorite pictures from our 2024 event in Cincinnati, but happy to answer any questions for the group. We will also be posting this recording on our website on the student conference page. So if there's any information you'd like to come back to in the future, it will be hosted there as well. And actually, I'll just show you all where that page lives. We're trying to make it as simple as possible for students to find it. So it's our URL, iidaohky.org/student conference 2026. But if for whatever reason you're on the website on the homepage, it lives under students, and then it should be your first tab as you scroll down. And this web page will host everything that students need to know. So we've got our registration open for obviously this session, and then we've got the conference tickets themselves. As we get further down the line, we'll have an event for purchasing expo booths or maybe sponsorship, things like that will be in this section. We've got quite a bit of information for traveling students. As Bethany mentioned, there'll be folks coming from kind of all over the chapter as well as from neighboring chapters. So we're providing hotel room information, that parking map you saw earlier, a blurb about meals, etc. And once we have specific content nailed down, as Katie was mentioning, there will also be a content section so that students can see the types of breakout sessions we're offering, who the panelists will be, etc. So we're excited to have a more robust information center for students in our 2026 year. Great. If we don't have any other questions, I will give you all back some time. But if you find something later that you would like to ask our committee about, or if you'd like to be more involved in the planning, have some suggestions for who you think panelists or content could be, please feel free to reach out. You can contact our VP of Students, Carrie Hendrickson, or info@iidaohky.org. We'll get you to the right person. So thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.